Hello, Magical Adventurers. It is me, Allison, and I'm your host here at Magic Family Adventures. And today we are going to be talking about Oogie Boogie Bash. So let's get into it. So Oogie Boogie Bash is already sold out. So if you've got a ticket, let's talk about it. If you don't have a ticket, I'm sorry, but I can give you tips for next year. So Oogie Boogie Bash usually sells out really quick. It is an after evening event that happens at Disney California Adventure. It does not happen at Disneyland Resort. It is different than Mickey's Not So Scary at Orlando. We are completely different here at Disney California Adventure, and we do Oogie Boogie Bash. And so the tickets go on sale probably a couple of months. They go on sale in like July, and you have to. It's normally it's a huge race. It's really hard to do. I happen to get tickets this year, so I'll be going this year. I've been to 2 Oogie Boogie Bashes before, so I've learned a few things along the way. Personally, for myself, I do not take my kids to Oogie Boogie Bash. I don't like that it is late in the evening. It is hard for my children to be up late at night. There are lots of other Halloween events that I take my kids to where they get to go trick-or-treating in theme parks during the day. And it's also included with your theme park price. If you want to know more about that, then I have lots of other videos on that, but today I'm going to specifically talk about Oogie Boogie Bash. So, getting your tickets happens way in advance. It's something that you have to plan for. It's not something that you can just go and upgrade and just hope that it's open for. So Oogie Boogie Bash happens on certain nights. They're usually on I think Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. But you want to make sure to check the calendar because you want to know when to be there. So you do not need to have a park ticket or a park reservation if you have an Oogie Boogie Bash ticket. Oogie Boogie Bash, you can get into Disney California Adventure at the earliest 3 o'clock. If you want to get there early and you want to do some rides before the Oogie Boogie Bash starts at 6 o'clock, I would say get there at 2 o'clock so then you are in there and you're ready to go. So when you go to Oogie Boogie Bash, adults are allowed to wear costumes. Kids obviously are allowed to wear costumes, but you are not allowed to wear a mask and you are not allowed to have weapons. So you want to make sure you think about your costumes and stuff like that before. One of the things I always suggest is when you go to Oogie Boogie Bash, if you have put all this time and effort into a family costume, first thing you need to do, take pictures. Just take pictures of your costumes because they're going to get destroyed. You're gonna lose all your sunlight and you're not going to be able to have to show for anything. So whenever I go to Oogie Boogie Bash, the first thing I do is I take pictures of my family because that's something that I want to remember. That's the thing that I might frame. That's something that's going to have good lighting, happiness. Everybody has all their pieces and everything. They haven't missed anything or lost anything. So the first thing you're going to want to do for Oogie Boogie Bash is take pictures. Before you even get to Oogie Boogie Bash, you're going to want to bring a big bag. You're going to bring a big treat bag. If you forget to bring a treat bag, you're going to want to buy one of Disney's reusable bags because you get a lot of candy. You get a lot of candy, and they give you a bag that's this big, and that's just not going to do anything. Thank you for the bag, but that doesn't do anything. So always bring a big bag. Make sure you get there about an hour before to get in at 3 o'clock. So between 3 and 6, it's going to be extremely busy at California Adventure because you have the guests from during the day, and you have Oogie Boogie Bash coming in. So that's going to be the most busiest part of the entire day is that first 3 hours. So don't go on any rides. I suggest don't go on any rides because the lines are ridiculous. Unless you're you really want to make sure you get on an Incredicoaster and you're afraid you won't have time. Something like that, I don't know. Those first 3 hours, I would make sure that you eat something because once it gets later, you're not going to want to stop what you're doing to eat. I would say you need to take pictures. If you want to go on a few rides, that's fine. The lines are going to be long because you have both crowds there. I would, if you can, wait until later in the evening when it's literally Oogie Boogie Bash, people, and so the lines are going to be super, super short. They do have a Mickey and Minnie's trick or treat show that you can bring your kids to, and it's an indoor show. It's on Buena Vista Street. It used to just be for Oogie Boogie Bash. They have now moved it during the day because at nighttime it turns into a trick or treat trail for Dr. Doofenshmirtz, the Phineas and Ferb dude. So if you want to do something like that, specifically Halloween, you can take pictures with the characters that are out. They're going to be, you know, Mickey and Minnie. I don't think they're not necessarily out in those costumes during Oogie Boogie Bash. They will be in different costumes for Oogie Boogie Bash. So if you like Donald in his little devil costume, take pictures with him before 6 o'clock. So that's some things to do before Oogie Boogie Bash starts. And what I always do is I want to make sure that whatever group I'm with, if I'm with adults, if I'm with my children, before I go to a theme park, I always ask, what is the one thing that you want to do? Who knows? It could be riding a ride, it could be seeing a show, it could be eating food, it could be meeting a character. But I want to make sure everybody gets that one thing that they want. Because yeah, as a mom, I want to do everything, but you don't have time to do everything all the time. So you want to make sure, okay, if my son really wants to, you know, meet like Ernesto de la Cruz, then let's make sure that we go through that treat trail. So what I suggest is that if there's a meet and greet you want to do, because at Oogie Boogie you have meet and greets and you have treat trails. There's different ones. And so like there's different meet and greets that you can do, like Bruno is a meet and greet that you can do where you have to wait in line just to meet the character. There's usually there's the Sanderson sisters with Donald, Daisy, and Clarabelle. That's just a photo op. Sometimes they have photo backdrops and stuff like that. So, and then they'll have characters in the center ring at the front, and they're always changing out. So if you want to meet some of those characters, so those are like specific character photo ops. So when Bruno was new, my husband's Colombian. I wanted to make sure to meet him, so we got in line at like 5 o'clock to meet Bruno. So yes, we're using that time. So right at 6 o'clock, like we knew we were going to be meeting him, and that we got the one thing that we wanted to do done. So that was what we did. So if you have a certain character or a certain, you know, like photo op experience that you want to be a part of, or a certain treat trail that you want to be in, you can always get in line, because at 6 o'clock it'll open up and then you can go in and be one of the first people to enjoy it. All right, so now let's talk about treat trails. So there's, I think 12 different treat trails this year. Some of them have characters, some of them do not. So like when you first walk into Disney, there's a treat trail that's right there in Buena Vista Street. If you were to go left, you have different treat trails. There's the Dr. Doofenshmirtz, that's going to be in like the Disney Junior area. In the Animation Academy, that's going to be Oogie Boogie. If you go to the left in front of like Monsters Inc., that's where the Hades is. Hades is new this year, so he's going to have probably a long line, but I would definitely say that he's worth it. If you go back to where the, like in Avengers Campus area, like where the big theater is, I can't think of it right now, the Hyperion Theater, that's where Ernesto de la Cruz is. He is a must. He's incredible. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy that they brought him back. Ernesto de la Cruz is amazing. They have it where you can walk through the treat trail, but Ernesto de la Cruz specifically, they have an area where you can just stand and watch him. So if you just want to see him and it's like candy's not important to you, there's always ways you can do that too, where you don't have to wait in line to just visibly see them. Like for me, like Yokai, I wanted to see him, and he's in San Francisco, but he was new, so his like treat line was like ridiculously long. So then I just walked by, and literally like the treat trail is like, yeah, you get close to him, but like I'm like 5 feet behind them, you know? So it's like if there's a character that you want to see, but you don't necessarily want to wait in that huge line, most of the time you can just walk by and you can see them and you can record them, and you know, you probably won't get much interaction with them, but at least you get to see him or them, whoever it is that you want to see. Anyway, so at the Hyperion Theater, that's where you're going to see Ernesto de la Cruz. His line was extremely long, but you can just walk up and see him if you don't want the candy his first year, but last year wasn't so bad. And then if you go into Avengers Campus, you're going to have Agatha in her new costume from her new series, Agatha All Along. She's going to be in like where that Doctor Strange area was. She's always great. She interacts really well. I really like her. If you continue going through Avengers Campus, that's where you're going to see Madame Mim is going to be on the right-hand side, kind of in that little inlet area. She's fine. I don't think she's going to be here for that much longer, even though I know she's new. I've never seen a long line for her. So that's where Madame Mim is. And so if you were to go to left, go continue to where Cars Land is. Cars Land, there's a trick-or-treat trail that's in there. There's no characters. But you will see sometimes the Cars characters will be out in their costumes. Just remember, PhotoPass is included with your Oogie Boogie Bash. So take all the photos with all the PhotoPass characters. With all the PhotoPass people, your photos are included. Take photos. It's wonderful. You have somebody else take the photos over of you. Sometimes they have magic photos. Take pictures with characters. All of them are included. So with your PhotoPass photographer. So there's a tree trail in there. Go to the San Francisco, and that's where you're going to see yokai. Another tree trail in there. You're going to go towards the back out to where like Ariel is, and there's just like at the front there's going to be a tree trail that's kind of in that big area. There's also the Kingdom of Hearts photo op. I don't play Kingdom of Hearts. I always skip it. Not a big deal to me. But if you continue going down that path, you're gonna go to the left-hand side. You're gonna see there's just like a Hocus Pocus photo op with a PhotoPass photographer. Nothing too crazy. And then you can go all the way back to Pixar Pier, and Pixar Pier is where Sid is, and he is hilarious. He always has a good line because he's hilarious. He totally roasts everybody that walks through the line. Super funny. They also have sometimes some rare characters that do some meet and greets over there. Sometimes it's Lotso. I don't know exactly who it is. It was Doug before too. I've met Lotso and Doug over in that area. So there's also a fun area where you can meet and greet, you know, some extra characters. If you are a magic key holder, usually they have a magic key thing underneath the Silly Swings. Last year they gave us like this weird popcorn holder. But this year they're giving a Hades like patch. And I think that's really cool. So I'm hoping that I can get that when I go to Oogie Boogie so then I can have a patch. So that's what's going on over that way. And for your other tree trails, there's one tree trail because they took away Mother Gothel that was behind Grizzly River Run. They have Dr. Doom, who is behind Soaring Over California. He's really crazy. They don't have him dipping the sock this year, which I think was really, really epic last year. So I don't know how entertaining he is. Last year, everybody just stood there and just waited for him to dip the sock, and it was like horrific and amazing at the same time. I don't know if you've seen the movie, you understand what I mean. So those are like the tree trails that are going on. The tree trail that is right at the front gate, those usually give out full like M&M bags, by the way. So you want to make sure to hit that one up, maybe a couple times. But yeah, you can go to any of these tree trails as many times as you want. They're going to give you candy. Some are going to give you carrots and apples. I always eat the carrots and apples. That's my snack throughout the night. You get a ton of candy. If that's something that you want, go through as many tree trails as you want. You can keep going, literally just circles and circles and circles. So another thing that happens at Oogie Boogie Bash is you're going to want to see the Fry for Lee Fun Parade. So there's two different showings of the Fry for Lee Fun Parade. It is a parade that only happens during Oogie Boogie Bash. You want to make sure to be there on time. You want to make sure to be there early. Like, get a good seat because the Headless Horseman and that horse, wow, that is a beautiful, massive horse. And it obviously real. He will come down before, like, a few minutes before the parade. So you don't want to miss it. I missed it my first year. I was so sad because I was trying to do a million things and I was like, no, this is a priority. I want to see my the Headless Horseman. So I saw it and it was a massive, beautiful horse. It was a really cool experience to kind of see that. A little spooky, of course. And then the Frightfully Fun Parade happens, and it's a really cute parade. I have it recorded from the past couple of years that I've been to. I don't think they've really changed much, but the music's great, the characters are great, the floats are great. It's a must-do. So now here's what we talk about is if you should go to the first parade or if you should go to the second parade. Well, here's the thing. The first parade is usually when a lot of the families will go because they don't think they might not make it to that second parade. Does that make sense? So the first parade might be busier because there's there's a lot of families there. They want to make sure to see that parade for their kids. But another thing is like sometimes you want to just get it over with. So you can read the crowd. Read the crowd, honestly, but during the parades is when you're going to want to go see those key characters that will have long tree trail lines or those key characters that will have the photo ops that you want to take pictures with. Like, if you do not want to see the first parade because you know you're going to be there, you're going to see the later one, go see Hades during the first parade because he's going to have a long line. He's amazing. He's new, and it'll be something that will be really fun to do. Or go meet Bruno or go do Kingdom of Hearts line, that one's always long. So during the parade, I would say go to the treat trail or the photo op that you want most, and vice versa. If during the evening, if there's like a certain one that you want to go to or see, then do it at the end. So I did my first year during the first parade. I did Ernesto de la Cruz. He had like zero line when I went because it was really long before. And I did the Sanderson sisters, which is Minnie, Clarabelle, and Daisy as the Sanderson sisters. And those are like the two longest lines because I had already done Bruno when I first got there. So it's like you have to kind of play this strategy game of like what characters I want to see, which ones I want to do a meet and greet. And like I said, you don't have to walk through all the treat trails, but if you want to do a photo op, you're gonna have to wait. So that's like the parade, and that's your strategy behind the parade. It goes to the same route. It starts at it goes to like almost where the Hyperion Theater is, and it'll go all the way to Paradise Pier. It's a really long parade route. It really is. So there's a lot of space. There's obviously not a ton of people there because it's a small event. So it's something that you need to do. Just choose which one you're gonna do and use that time wisely to pick the certain photo ops or treat trails that you want to do to make sure the ones that have the longer line. The other thing that you're going to want to do is Villains Grove. Villains Grove has 0 actual people in it. It is all just projections and smoke, and it's just a walkthrough. There's no candy, there's no nothing, but you guys, it is so amazing. It is so amazing. It is so interesting. So what I do is say, I forget, I think Oogie Boogie Bash ends at 11. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I always get in line right before Oogie Boogie Bash ends. And what that means is that if I'm in line even 5 minutes prior to when Oogie Boogie Bash ends, I will still get to go through Villains Grove. And I'm missing out on the entire crowd that is all the way back there. It is just like a ride at Disneyland. If Disneyland closes at midnight, if you get in line for Peter Pan at 11:59, you get to ride Peter Pan. So I always do Villains Grove last. I like it to be last. I like to take my time. I like to just walk through, enjoy the projections, just watch them as they kind of like the Cheshire Cat will change. Like there will be like 3 different ways, or like you can see the vines growing up on the wall, and just really take it all in and know that I have time to enjoy this. This is something I want to take my time to enjoy. This is something that I want to see, and I don't want to feel rushed and be like, oh, I just wasted an hour. I just wasted an hour at Villains Grove, and now I don't have enough time to go to Sid, at Pixar Pier because he's so far away. So I always do Villains Grove absolutely last. It's the last thing that I do. I get in line right before it closes, and it's pretty quiet. And then the cool part is as you're leaving the park, it's just really quiet. There's not that many people there, and all the things are lit up. It's just a really kind of like a spooky kind of fun vibe. So just remember that Oogie Boogie Bash is completely family friendly. There's nothing like scary or gory other than like the Headless Horseman. Like that's the scariest thing that they have. And there's no gore, there's no nothing. It's just a guy headless guy riding a horse, and he's holding the pumpkin head. And then if people think some of the villains could be creepy, like people could think, Ernesto de la Cruz is creepy or Oogie Boogie's creepy, but I love them all, obviously. But then during Oogie Boogie Bash, you're going to be able to ride any rides that you want. Again, if you're not a pass holder, you can ride some rides. If that's something that you want to do, if your kid wants to ride Mater, let your kid ride Mater. And then, maybe you'll get a little bit less candy, but you can still walk by and see the characters. Just make sure you're doing things that make your family happy. Don't feel like you have to do everything, because sometimes it kills the fun. When you're working so hard to achieve everything, you end up just working the whole night and then not enjoying it. So those are just kind of my tips when it comes to Oogie Boogie Bash. Use your time wisely. When you have from 3 o'clock all the way, I think, to like midnight or so. I don't remember what time it closes, sorry, at this point. But, take your time. Like, come prepared. Wear your costumes. Take your photos. Bring your big treat bag, your big treat bag. You can even get a locker. If you want a locker, get it first thing. As soon as you walk in, get a locker. They're going to be sold out because it's hard to do. So just know lockers might be few and far in between. If they're sold out within Disney California Adventure, they still have lockers on the outside in the Esplanade area. There's some to the right over over there, and there's some across the way next to Disneyland. So there's still other areas where you guys can get lockers if you don't want to hold on to bulky items like a popcorn bucket, or like say, hey, I have this prop that I want to take pictures with, but I don't want to hold on to it the whole night. I want to put it away. And sometimes if you get too much candy, you can shove it in the locker. So lockers are good, and there's different ways to get them. And then I always bring a fuel rod so that I have extra, what's it called? Extra batteries and stuff like that. Again, I eat the carrots and the apples as I'm walking through. Of course, they give you candy too. But like if you want to try, sometimes they have specialty menus that are only offered during Oogie Boogie time. Get those earlier on, because again, when you're in the hustle and bustle of everything, like all of a sudden you're like, I'm starving, I don't know what happened. Like where did these last 4 hours go? So yeah, just come prepared and just enjoy yourself and have your priorities of the characters that you really want to see, the characters that you're willing to wait for, and try to be strategic. Get in line for it before Oogie Boogie even starts, or go see them during one of the parades. And then again, do Villains Grove at the end of the night. And it's honestly, it's such a wonderful experience to do it at the end of the night, where it's just like, it's calming, it's soothing, it's not rushed, it's not crazy, it's just, you get to enjoy yourself. So those are my best Oogie Boogie tips that I have for you. If you guys have any tips, please let me know. I would love to hear your Oogie Boogie tips, and I'm sure I'm gonna always come up with more. So make sure you like this video if you're heading to Oogie Boogie Bash, or you want to head to Oogie Boogie Bash. Make sure you subscribe for more, because again, I am going to so many different family-friendly and adult-friendly Halloween stuff, so you're not going to want to miss it. And then yeah, hopefully I will talk to you soon, and thank you again for watching this video, and yeah, I'll see you next time.